Preview Australian Open Day 1 World Number 1 Alcaraz and Sabalenka commence title quests. Raducanu looks to get back on track as Williams set to return. The long wait is nearly over. The Australian Open is set to kick off on January 18th with the best players in the world set to take to the court with one goal in mind: to win the Grand Slam title. As been the tradition in recent times, the tournament will start on Sunday with a blockbuster day of tennis, featuring the two world number ones with a legend returning to town among the highlights of Day 1 in Melbourne. Alcaraz career Grand Slam ambitions commence. Carlos Alcaraz has been virtually unbeatable at times when competing on the ATP Tour. The level he consistently produces is absurd, and him being ranked as the world number 1 going into the event is a fitting place for a champion to be. However, he has never been able to convert this down under. Without any form of title or even final in Oceania, he is desperately looking to overturn this bad form to clinch the final Grand Slam title he needs for his collection, having collected 2 of the others. This would make him the youngest player to achieve a career Grand Slam, comfortably dislodging Rafael Nadal, who did it at 24 years and 101 days old. The Spaniard has a lot of unsettling question marks around him, with long-term coach Juan Carlos Ferrero no longer in his camp. It will be intriguing to see how he copes with Samuel Lopez now overlooking his progress. The first match on schedule for Alcaraz will be against Adam Walton on Rod Laver at night, with the Aussie looking to cause a seismic upset. Last year's finalist looking to replicate stunning run. Since his final last year, Alexander Zverev's career has somewhat slowed down. He has not been able to produce that scintillating form that saw him reach the final in Melbourne last year, where he was defeated by a rampant Jannik Sinner for more Grand Slam misery. Zverev needs to overturn his prior major form from last year, which saw him win just 2 matches at Wimbledon and US Open combined. The world number 3 could come tumbling off his perch if he is not careful, with Gabriel Diallo his opening test. Outside of those 2, a number of other players on the ATP look to get their campaign off with a win. Alexander Bublik will enter his first event as a top 10 player after reaching that phenomenal milestone with a title in the Hong Kong Open, continuing his blistering streak of success. He faces off against Jenson Brooksby. Francis Tiafoe has lost to a brace of Russians in the form of Daniil Medvedev and Karen Khachanov to kick off the year. Fortunately, he will stay away from Russian opponents to a home competitor in the form of qualifier Jason Kubler. Former Wimbledon semi-finalist Cameron Norrie will be leading the Brits down under with Jack Draper's ongoing absence. He is set to line up against Benjamin Bonzi. Sabalenka wants her title back. Over to the WTA, and this title is predicted to be a lot more wide open. One guarantee it feels is Aryna Sabalenka will be here or thereabouts at the business end. The Belarusian has enjoyed domination at Melbourne Park in recent years, making 3 finals in a row. It was the place of her maiden major triumph in 2023 against Elena Rybakina before getting the better of Zheng Qinwen a year later. She was the overwhelming favorite for the title last year, but was upset by Madison Keys in a thrilling final. The 4-time Grand Slam champion is hugely determined to regain her crown and continue this assertive dominance in Australia. The 27-year-old has already won a title this year, defeating Marta Kostyuk in the Brisbane International Final. She received a huge boost in that event. Not just that she was in fine form, but a lot of her rivals fell early, a lot of them coincidentally to the hands of Kostyuk. The quest to win Australian Open title number 3 begins against French wildcard Tyansoa Rakitomanga Rajana. Raducanu looking to kick on from Hobart disappointment. Emma Raducanu was the number 1 seed in the Hobart International, but succumbed to a hugely disappointing defeat to Taylor Preston, who began the event ranked outside the top 200. The former US Open champion has shown signs of improvement, but deep runs in these big events have been sparse. Especially in Grand Slams, with defeats to Sabalenka, Swiatek and Rybakina last year. This looks to repeat itself with a 3rd-round clash against Sabalenka on the cards. She needs to get there first, and will take on Thailand's Maninkaya Sawanki on Margaret Court Arena. First on Rod Laver is 2-time Grand Slam finalist Jasmine Paolini, who has never made it past the 4th round in Melbourne. The world number 7 takes on former top 30 player Alexandra Sasnovich. While that is ongoing, Maria Sakkari, who has also never made it past the fourth round, comes up against Leolia Jean. The world number 11 and 12 also kick off their campaigns on Sunday. Ekaterina Alexandrova ended 2025 in the top 10, but has since been bumped down thanks to Belinda Bencic's incredible showings in the United Cup. She will play Zeynep Sonmez while the recent ASB champion Alina Svitolina looks to continue her unbeaten 2026 with a tie against Kristina Buxa. Fellow Ukrainian Kostuk also look to continue the positive momentum with a first-round clash versus Elsa Jackmot. A legend returns. Venus Williams is set to make a hugely popular return to the Australian Open. The seven-time Grand Slam champion has never tasted victory in this particular event, making it to the final in 2003 and 2017 while on both occasions losing to her sister Serena Williams. This showcase of longevity is set to make her the oldest female competitor in the competition at the age of 45 years old. She is still as competitive as ever, coming off the back of featuring in the ASB Classic and Hobart International. Her first-round contest will be against Serbian Olga Danilovic, who made the fourth round last year. It will be the final match on John Cain Arena, closing out what is set to be a thrilling first day of action. Preview: Australian Open Day 1. Alcaraz and Sabalenka commence title quests. Raducanu seeks renewal as Williams returns. Melbourne wakes differently on the first day of the Australian Open. The light feels sharper, the air louder, as if the city itself understands that something elemental is about to begin. Day 1 is not merely the start of a tournament. It is the opening chapter of a fortnight-long novel written in sweat, belief, heartbreak, and brilliance. This year, that opening chapter promises a particularly rich storyline, headlined by ambition at its peak, redemption in motion, and legacy stepping once more onto the blue courts of Rod Laver Arena. At the center of it all stands Carlos Alcaraz, the world number 1, a player who seems to bend time in his favor. Still astonishingly young, yet already carrying the weight of expectation with a grin that suggests he enjoys the burden. Day 1 for Alcaraz is not about survival but statement. The Australian Open remains the one major frontier yet to be fully conquered in his growing empire, and his opening match is the ceremonial lighting of a fuse. His game, an electric fusion of raw power and instinctive artistry, feels purpose-built for Melbourne's stage. The question is not whether he belongs here, it is how emphatically he intends to announce his intentions.